Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the Uplift at Vision. We are so happy to have you here on this lovely Monday afternoon. Let's pray in. I know that all life is sacred. I know that all life is one. I know that the beloved is behind all of life. The diversity of all life is rooted in the oneness of that energy that seeks to know of itself in form. And we call that God or spirit or first cause or the beloved or Christ consciousness or Buddha mind, that ground of all being that has its attention and has its energy everywhere simultaneously, and yet is individualized so perfectly, so beautifully as each one of us. We know all outpicturings everywhere in the manifest physical universe. They are all the body of God. They are all God in form. And we know this. We know that there is only one. Behind the uniqueness, behind the diversity, we know stands the one eternal truth, that God is, we are, and so it is. So good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? Knowing that you're sheltered in place, that you're safe, that you're whole, you're healthy. I know this because you are an outpicturing of spirit. And so I started thinking about, again, mindfulness and COVID-19 that we're all experiencing, having to live at the effect of right now, right? We're living at the effect of this virus that's just making itself known right now. It's not good or bad, it just is the experience of what's happening. So I started thinking about mindfulness and about COVID-19 together. So I started thinking about a COVID mindfulness, if that makes sense. COVID-19 as a spiritual practice, right? Because we are doing things on purpose. We are being mindful. Right? Before we go out, we make sure we have a mask with us or on us, or in our purse, whatever. We make sure we put it on before we exit the car or exit the house. We make sure we wash our hands when we've touched anything outside of our home, right? You put gas in the car, whatever you do, you want to make sure your hands are washed after you've touched a screen at the bank, at the ATM machine, or anything like that. So we're being very purposeful about what we do. So I was thinking, COVID-19 is really an exercise. It is a spiritual practice in mindfulness. It keeps us safe, it keeps us healthy. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes says this. He said, sickness is not a spiritual reality. It is an experience. It is an effect, not a cause. And so we have to keep going back to that. We have to keep knowing that. Remember, God is the love to which there is no opposite. God is the wholeness to which there is no opposite. God is the health to which there is no opposite. Remember, this idea of opposites comes in at the level of the effect. It comes in at the human mind level, where we observe this and that, and we call them opposites. But yet what we know is that God only exists on this continuum. So God is love, that's all there is. We can only experience a little or a lot of it. So the same is true for health, and that's why Ernest Holmes said that. Sickness is not a spiritual reality. It is an effect. It is not a cause. So when I think about COVID as a spiritual practice, I think about it as a mindfulness process. It is a mindfulness practice. And so as a mindfulness practice, what do? We want to be aware and awake of everything that we're doing during the day. So I would think if COVID-19 is a mindfulness practice, one of the first things that we want to do is avoid the news cycle. Because you can inundate yourself with COVID news, right? And you can inundate yourself with everything that's horrible and everything that's bad and everything that's going wrong. And that does not help. Remember, on a biochemical level, getting stressed out decreases, right, your immune system. It depresses your immune system when you're frightened, when you are stressed out, when you're anxious. All of those things depress your immune system. So the fact that we're dealing with a worldwide pandemic, that what you want to do is you want to be feeding your immune system. You want to be pumping it up so that it's as healthy as it can be. So we want to do whatever is the antidote to fear and anxiousness, right? So one of the best things that we can do is limit our intake of social media, limit our intake of the news cycle. You know, I'm not saying stick your head in the sand like an ostrich. What I'm saying is you can be informed without being inundated, okay? So limit yourself, maybe an hour a day, you know, maybe a half hour of news, a half hour of social media, or something like that. But limit your exposure, because that does not help your biochemistry. Going through a mindfulness practice is about being awake and aware. It is about where we place our attention. And so we want to place our attention on faith and not fear. And so limit yourself, and that will help your body and help your mind stay in the faith and out of the fear. Ernest Holmes said this as well. He said, health is a state of wholeness in body and in mind. The body is the servant of the mind, and the mind is the offspring of pure spirit. So if you think about that, right? The body is the servant of the mind. Your body will react to where your attention is going, to what you are placing your attention on. So again, stay out of the fear, stay into the faith, and the body responds. The body responds likewise. Right? So I want to walk through my whole day knowing. I want to walk through my whole day knowing that health is my birthright. I want to walk through my whole day knowing wholeness is my birthright. It is pure and simple. There is nothing else but wholeness and health and oneness and unity. And what are we unified with? We're unified with the presence and the power that has created everything. Can't go wrong there. You cannot go wrong there, right? I am unified. I am one with. I am one as the power and presence that has created the entire known universe and is continuing to outpicture, continuing to create. So if we are one with that and as that, if we are inseparable from that power and presence, that is our very nature, is that power and presence. Then we can stay in the wholeness of that. We can stay in the truth of that. We can just, resonate in the unity of that. And to know health is our birthright. Wholeness is our birthright. I'm going to go to Thoughts Are Things now. This is another book by Ernest Holmes, and he said this: your life is of God. Your health is an expression of the perfection of spirit within you. Really got to get that, okay? I just want you to listen to that again. Your health is an expression of the perfection of spirit within you. He goes on to say this: as you recognize there is a river of life within you, which flows from eternal source of all life, you need to open your mind and accept the full influx of its life-giving power. That's your birthright. That's your inheritance. You are that. That's what's flowing in you, in and all through you, and circulating through every organ system, every molecule, every atom, every subatomic particle of you. It is only spirit. There's nothing else in there but spirit. There's nothing else to this whole body but spirit. The very matter of your body is spirit, because it's energy, right? We know that whether in form or out of form, everything is energy. So the molecules of your body, it's just pure energy. They're just dense, right? They're just dense, creating matter, but it's still just energy. That energy is spirit. So everything about you is spirit. That life-giving power that is spirit in you, that is you. So more COVID-19 mindfulness, knowing this, knowing that we are that. We must be good and wise stewards of these vehicles we've been given, right? Yes, it's all energy. Yes, it's all God. So how would we treat God? We would treat God with the utmost respect. We would treat God with the utmost reverence. And that is the way you must approach your body, because it is the body of God. Ha! How about that? So washing your hands, make it a mindfulness practice. Make it a holy encounter. When we wash our hands, you know, it's so tempting anymore because we've been doing this since March, right? Really being conscious, really being aware, really being careful, and washing and washing and washing wherever we go. And you know, now I think it's starting to wear on people. And we're starting maybe to get a little lax, maybe getting a little forgetful. And this is not the time to do that. This is the time to double down on your COVID-19 spiritual practice. So washing your hands has to be a devotion. It has to be a spiritual practice. You have to bring mindfulness to the very act of washing your hands. Feel the warmth of the water. Feel it, really feel the warmth of the water. Notice the slickness of the soap as one hand slides over the other. Really allow your hands to caress each other and feel what that feels like. Give your fingers a massage. Give each one a massage. And don't forget your thumbs. People can get careless, I don't know why, about their thumbs. Make sure your thumbs get in on the action. Really pay attention to each and every finger. Notice how they feel when they're being massaged. You know how you feel so good when you get a massage? Okay, so give your fingers a massage. They do a lot of work for you. So make this hand washing a real spiritual ritual. Notice it. Keep track of it. Spend time soaping up. Spend time rubbing and massaging and then rinsing and feeling that, feeling what it feels like. Make washing your hands that spiritual practice. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, everything in the physical world, animate and inanimate, is the result of some organizing factor, a purposeful activity, a formative element that indicates the involvement of an intelligence that functions in accord with law. This is what we encounter in the body. The body, in structure and function, is a mass of dynamic material held together by an intelligent organizing factor which operates in accordance with law. Your body is God in form. Your body is spiritual in matter, as matter. So be conscious of it. This COVID-19 spiritual practice, this COVID-19 mindfulness spiritual practice, right? Washing our hands. The other part of the practice is not touching your face. Approach your face as if you would approach the altar, with reverence, with humility, with a cleanliness, right? Think of your face as the face of God, because it is. So approach it carefully, lovingly, reverently, right? Your face is a holy place. It doesn't get touched by human hands unless they have been prepared, right? Unless your hands are freshly washed. We don't want to touch our faces at all. Just like you wouldn't want to touch a holy relic. I'm not saying you're a relic. God, that was awful. I don't mean it like that. You know what I mean. But how we would carefully be when touching any holy thing, you know? Keep your hands off your face. You know, keep your hands out of your eyes. Don't rub your eyes. Don't wipe your mouth with a hand. Don't go near it at all. Make sure that when you approach your face, you approach it with reverence and awe, and clean hands, freshly washed hands, if at all, right? Just be careful. Be careful, be conscious. Notice when your hand begins to approach your face, oh, there it is, you know. Wait a minute, I don't want to do that. Be mindful. Be mindful of that. Make sure that your hands have been cleansed before they get anywhere near the holiness that is your face. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, with every pill we have prescribed for us by doctors, We should also be given a creative prayer, a suggested way to correct our destructive patterns of thought. We must get ourselves and our limited human thinking out of the way so that the divine pattern of perfection can fully express itself in us. Isn't that wonderful? Wouldn't you just absolutely love that? Anytime you get a medicine prescribed for you from a doctor, here's your prescription, here's your prayer. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? Think about that. You know, think about that the next time you go to the doctors. If you know your doctor probably won't do it for you, then you do it. Find something out of one of Ernest Holmes' books. Find one of his prayers that he wrote dozens and dozens and dozens of them. There's all kinds of prayers and meditations in the back of the Science of Mind textbook and other books that he wrote. He has meditations on any subject. He has prayers on all of the subjects. Questions and answers has a great many of them. Find a prayer. If you're given a prescription, find a prayer to accompany it. A suggested way to correct our destructive patterns of thought. What a wonderful thing that would be to do. I love that idea. So we get to do that on our own, don't we? And that prayer is a way of coming back to the perfection that we are, reminding us. Ernest Holmes always said, if you need a pill, take a pill. We're not about denying, right, that physical intelligence is God intelligence working through the doctor. So a pill is not wrong or bad to take, but Ernest Holmes said, accompany it by a prayer. The prayer will change the consciousness behind it. If anything, it'll make the pills work even faster and better and more efficiently, won't it? Because what we're going to recognize is we're going to recognize the wholeness that is the truth of us, the wholeness that is in the center of everything we do, everything we are. There is a wholeness there. There is spirit at the center of our life. It is outpicturing itself as us. It's having the life. It's having the experience. We're along for the ride almost, right? The individualized expression of us. We are individualizing that energy, which is God, but it's God energy we're using all the time. So prayer and pills works great, right? Practice mindfulness, but mindfulness always coming from the standpoint of health, coming from the standpoint of wholeness, always coming from the standpoint of our perfection and not from our fear. There is a COVID virus all around the planet right now. We don't have to be afraid of it. We have to be wise stewards about our bodies. We have to know to do the right things for them, to keep them well, to keep them healthy, to keep them sheltered, to keep them operating at maximum output, right? That's our job to do in the world right now. But we do it coming from love, coming from wholeness, coming from health, coming from faith that I am surrounded, I am guided, and I am protected by the divine power and presence, which is God as me. Let's pray out. I give great thanks for this day, for everything that it is, knowing and accepting that we are one, that there is only Spirit. It has chosen to outpicture, to incarnate itself as everything, as all life everywhere. And we know that we are part of that. We are some part, some inexplicable part of the whole life of spirits, just like an individualized thread in the tapestry of all life. Each one of us, our own unique color or blend of colors, that thread is so unique that is only one that looks just like us. And we know all together we create this thing called life. Giving great thanks, I simply let it be. And so it is. Amen. It was wonderful spending time with you today. Remember Vision, we're having an Uplift again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Join me again. That'll be Tuesday at 1 o'clock right here on the Uplift at Vision. From my heart to yours, Vision community, you know we are one. There is no separation. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.